Hi, I'm Cora Rose.
And I'm José Luis Vílchez.
And together, we form the Art We There Yet project. Art We There Yet is a project to travel across North, Central, and South America, creating art and music inspired by the Americas and giving back to communities along the way.
And we are doing this for an old school bus that we turn into a professional recording and art studio on wheels.
We've been on the road 2 years now. The project is probably going to take 5 more. During this time, we have had the pandemic, so we've been slowed down a bit, and we spent most of the time in the United States and a little bit of Mexico.
During this time on the road, we've been able to paint 18 murals. We've done countless concerts, 20 workshops. We have collected over 40 terabytes of sound recordings, landscape photographs, documenting the landscapes and the people that we have interacted with. And we also created an experimental film, and we have done a few music videos.
So the big question is why? Well, first, we're both artists, and we gain our primary inspiration from the world, from exploring different cultures and seeing different landscapes and creating friendships that span borders. Second, we want to create art that really emphasizes our shared humanity and the value of diversity.
And third, we want to provide the opportunity to people in communities to engage with art making. And also, we want to be part of those communities to help them create this art. Coming from Nicaragua, a third world country, I know how important it is to have this kind of interactions. And I know how beneficial this can be for communities when the opportunity to engage in the arts comes their way.
So a little bit about me. I'm a singer-songwriter and an audio engineer. I grew up in very rural Wisconsin, but I've lived and traveled all over the world. Travel and movement is just core to who I am, and it directly drives my work. I also studied development economics and trade policy in Spanish at College of the Atlantic in Bar Harbor, Maine. So a huge priority for me is also being able to do good work in communities, and especially all across the Americas.
I'm a painter and a photographer. I grew up in Nicaragua during the revolution. When I was 17 years old, I moved to the United States. Eventually, I made my way to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, where I studied fine arts. I've always been in love with the world and curious about getting to know different cultures and different countries. So I've traveled extensively, bringing my camera along with me to document all these wonderful experiences that I had around the world.
So we met in China, of all places, and we immediately connected over our shared love of art and travel. After a year and a half of living in China, we moved back to the Western Hemisphere to start the Art We There Yet project.
In today's video, we're going to dig a little deeper into the Art We There Yet project.
We're going to share more of the components of the project, as well as some meaningful stories and reflections we've had from these first 2 years.
So stick around, because towards the end, Cora is going to play some music for us. All right, let's dive in.
So a lot of people are actually curious why we are doing this in a school bus, and there's actually multiple reasons. One of the first ones was actually logistics. So school buses are public transportation throughout Central America, throughout Mexico as well, and into South America as well. So as we are driving the school bus from the United States, where it was made, through Canada, up through Alaska, and all the way down, parts and people who know how to do repairs are going to be very accessible to us. Versus doing it in an RV, we could easily find ourselves up a mountain somewhere in Bolivia with some guy laughing at us saying, "You want a what for a what?" We don't ever want to be in that situation. We feel it's really important that we have a vehicle that we can actually get help with.
Another reason is school buses are built strong. These things are like a tank, and we're going to be going through a lot of roads. There are not necessarily the best roads in the world, and we need a strong vehicle that can take us safely from point A to point B.
Also customization. So we wanted to be able to build a space where we could actually be working artists on the road. And so we needed to build a recording studio. And inside a fiberglass container that is an RV, that really wasn't going to be possible. We needed to have something where we could completely gut out and completely build an artist space that fit exactly our needs and fit exactly also the needs of potential visitors. So if we have artists that come and join us on the road, we have a space for them to sleep, a space for them to work, and all of that is just too much to be able to try and do that inside an RV that is already built out. It's not able to be customized for the needs of a set of artists on the road.
Yeah. And also, it's a beautiful metaphor of traveling across the Americas on a school bus. I mean, you go to school on a school bus, and we're traveling across the Americas, learning a lot of things. And the bus is basically taking us to school, the school of travel, if you may. The Art with Area project is a massive project, and it has 5 different components, including photography, films, collaborative music, murals, and workshops. In the photography component, I'm focusing mainly in landscapes and portraits. I'm interested in documenting the landscape of the Americas, from deserts to mountains to cityscapes and everything in between. And then there's another aspect to it, which is portraits. The portraits are a little bit more personal. For this project, I like to get to know the subject and get to know a little bit about their life and their culture, interact in the bus or outside of the bus. And once they feel comfortable, they can come inside the bus. I can set backdrop and get a straight shot, simple black and white. And the idea of shooting black and white is to remove colors, because I believe that separate us. And we're trying to celebrate the diversity and share humanity that we have. We believe that we are more similar than we are different. We're hoping that at the end of the journey, we're gonna have a big collection of portraits that celebrate the beautiful diversity and celebrate our shared humanity.
One of the portraits that we want to tell a little bit of the backstory behind is the portrait of Arnold Montgomery, a really good friend of ours now. And I love the story behind this portrait because it really exemplifies something we've started to experience over and over and over again, which is this random string of events that seems to know exactly what it's doing to lead us to a beautiful experience. And so with Arnold, the long story short is we were driving through Alabama with no intention to stop in this little town called Guntersville. But the moment we were driving through Guntersville, we were both really captivated by the landscape and by the quaintness of the town. It's just a very cute town right next to this beautiful lake. So we decided to stop and spend a couple days there. After a couple days, we got a knock, knock, knock on the door where we were parked, and there was a police officer there. And so immediately we think, oh, we're gonna be asked to leave. But instead, he says, hi guys, welcome. You've caused quite a stir in town. People are talking about you. Do you need anything? Are you comfortable? And we were just very taken aback and very, that felt really warm. And he said, and you know what? There's actually a better place where you can park your bus. If you go out to this other part of the lake, there's a pier that goes out into the water of the lake. And I bet you could get a great shot, some great footage of the bus there. Yeah. Really, okay. So we take the bus there, get a great drone shot, put it up online, worked on some stuff, went to bed. The next morning we woke up and we had gone viral in the region. We had comments and messages, beautiful, beautiful things being sent our way, including one message from somebody who worked at a school in nearby Gadsden, which was also not really on our route. She invited us to come do a workshop. So we said yes, and we headed on over to Gadsden, where we decided to have pizza at a place that had also been recommended by a kind person on the internet. And there we were having pizza in Gadsden, and there was Arnold playing saxophone. And he's an amazing musician. So we immediately just gravitated towards him, introduced ourselves, talked about the project, and a beautiful friendship flourished. He brought us to his home where he showed us he makes handmade saxophone mouthpieces, which is a beautiful workshop he has. He posed for José's portrait series. He even played on my collaborative song project, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful friendship that was born out of a random string of events. And so that is just one story behind one of the portraits. All of the portraits have an interesting story behind them, and it's a very exciting part of the project.
The other component of the Art with Agent project is experimental films. Cora and I collaborate in experimental films, and we get to experience the same place in different ways. I'm in charge of the visuals, Cora is in charge of the audio. So I go out with my camera and capture all these different landscapes and sceneries from cities. And I get to experience through the lens of my camera, and Cora gets to experience that from recording sounds. And at the end, we put this together in a very experimental way. And something beautiful happens there when these two things get mixed together and put together as one piece.
So something really interesting about our first experimental film was that it was eerily foretelling of the pandemic. And this was very odd. So it was shot and recorded, the audio was recorded entirely in February 2020. So at that point in time, COVID was a distant news story, something that was across the world. And that's when we created the film, that's when we edited and completely produced this film. And then lockdown happened. And after that moment, we took a turn around and looked at this film that we had created, and it actually kind of raised some goosebumps. It was eerie how many elements of the film seemed to foreshadow social distancing, lockdown. It just, so many pieces of it. If you watch that, you'll think that it was a commentary on the pandemic, but it was actually produced exactly at the time that it seems the virus was spreading throughout the United States and we didn't know. It's very eerie. It's actually giving me goosebumps right now. So another component of the project is collaborative music. I am in the process of recording a song that will be recorded track by track across all of the Americas, incorporating different musicians in the recording. For instance, a bass player in Virginia and a saxophone player in Gadsden, Alabama, along with who knows who will be down the road playing on this song. And so the idea behind this part of the project is to show through music that when we combine diversity, when we combine different genres and people from different backgrounds, different countries, even speaking different languages, you combine all of these different influences into one piece of music, you can create something very beautiful and very unique, something that perhaps would not have been able to be created had each of those people stayed in their own little silos. So a real fun story that's come out of this part of the project so far was the day that we had to fit a full upright bass inside the tiny little bus. So we were in Richmond, Virginia. We were recording a viola track by a violist named Molly Sharp. She plays for the Richmond Symphony, and she was recording a track for the song. We parked the bus out in the middle of the woods and recorded her track, and when it was finished, she said, "You know, I know a guy who plays bass. You want to just give him a call, see if he's free?" So we did, gave him a call, and sure enough, he was free. He drove over, and we had the very, very unique experience of trying to fit this massive instrument in through the bus into this tiny recording studio. And the only way to actually allow him to be able to play was to put the very top end of it up into the emergency hatch. And that was the only way he was actually able to play. But we did get that track, and it sounds awesome.
Another of the components, and it has become one of the main components of the Art with Agent project in the sense that is the one thing that we engage the most with the community, is murals. The way in which we organize the murals is really wonderful because I get to design a mural, then Cora and I, we go out there, lay the lines before we have the volunteers to come and help us paint the mural. And we do it in kind of like a paint by number fashion. And sometimes volunteers come and help us prime the wall or do any other prepping that needs to be done. We had fire departments come and wash the complete wall for us because maybe we didn't have access to water nearby. And then we have people from all ages from the communities to come and help, from 3-year-olds to the oldest person that is interested in coming being part of the project. So that is the one aspect of the project that connects us directly to the community. The wonderful thing about the murals is that people are part of it. They know the part of the mural that they painted, and they can step back and say, hey, I painted that part. We don't want to be the artists who come into our community and just paint a mural and just be focused on painting and not engaging with that community. We believe it's more beautiful to make it collaborative in a way that people will have a good memory about it, will have a good time. Most people feel like painting is therapeutic in a way. That way we also get to connect with people of the community, know a little bit about what they do, a little bit about their town, and sometimes they invite us or give us tips of the places to go and check out in their communities. So it's a wonderful experience. Once we are gone, they are left with a piece of art that they were part of the creation. And we hope that by doing this, we can inspire them to see that if we all come together, we can create beautiful things. And hopefully they will keep painting murals without us being there.
So every single mural is unique. Each mural has its own story, its own set of people that came together. And so we can't really choose favorites or say one was better than the other. There is one that I feel like really exemplifies many, many cultural aspects coming together all at one time. And that was the mural in El Pescadero in Baja Sur, Mexico. So it was a massive wall. It was about 200 feet long. And community leaders welcomed us in. Once again, we had the fire department come and close down the wall. And it was beautiful. Over a week, we completed this huge mural that helped exemplify what the town is most proud of. Its agricultural history, its stewardship of wildlife, even tourism. So at one point, we had people from not only Mexico, not only the small town itself, but people from different states within Mexico, at least 3 different Mexican states represented, as well as Germany, Spain, Nicaragua, and the USA, all working on one wall together, all pitching in to create this beautiful piece of art for this community. And that for me, it was a really special experience because we were all there together creating something for the community, and we were all able to share our different stories from where we're from. We were able to share different cultural things, like we were able to share food and legends and stories, and we had time around a dinner table together and time around a fire together, and it was a really beautiful coming together of people from all around the world.
The last component of the Art with Data project are the workshops. We do painting workshops and songwriting workshops. These workshops are also another way for us to connect with communities and also provide a platform for kids to express themselves freely. We have done workshops in many different schools in the US and also in Mexico. And it's always wonderful to provide this opportunity, especially in communities where there's no resources for this kind of art programming. It's also wonderful to see how creative kids can be, not just in painting, but also musically.
And it's very important to us to provide these kind of opportunities because everyone deserves access to these opportunities first and foremost. But also, we both, in our own ways, have personally experienced and benefited from visiting artists coming in and providing these kind of workshops. We both tell stories about puppet shows that came to our town, or about this one opportunity to do this thing, or this one opportunity to do this thing. And those things really stuck with us. They affected us as artists. They affected our way of seeing the world. And so we feel very strongly that as we're doing this project, as we're traveling through all these places, it's very important that we pay that forward to the next generation. Something for me that holds a lot of gravity with the workshops that we do is a big lesson we've learned from the painting workshops. And that we have painted with children in air-conditioned school buildings in the United States. We've also painted with children at a migrant camp on the US-Mexico border with people waiting for asylum in the United States. And that workshop was held on dirt floor with wind blowing through underneath the UNICEF tent. And the amazing thing, the touching thing, I think, and the important thing to note is that if you put all those paintings together, you see something very similar, that children are children are children. They paint the same things. They paint the same movements. They paint the same scenes. They paint scenes of home, of happy times with their family. And I think it just really goes to show when you look at the paintings from the children, you realize, we really are more the same than we are different. You look at these paintings and you don't know who painted it. You don't know whether they were in a UNICEF tent or inside an air-conditioned building. A painting is a painting is a painting. A child is a child. And across all of the Americas, we're all the same.
We've been on the road for 2 years, and most of that time we have spent it here in the United States. And that's something we didn't plan, but we're actually glad that happens because, especially for me, it made me realize that there's a lot of communities that need help. Before we started the trip, I had this wrong idea that Latin American countries were the countries that we should do most of the volunteering because I thought that they need more help. But I quickly realized that there's a lot of underserved communities right here at home in the United States. And it makes me feel really proud that I got to give something back to these communities because the United States is my second home, it's my second country. I'm really happy that we were able to give back something to these communities that welcome us with open arms.
Something we've also really reflected on is the fact that the United States is an immensely diverse country, and one doesn't necessarily need a passport and travel all the way across the world in order to immerse oneself in a different culture and to open your mind to different ideas and to step outside the comfort zone a little bit and learn something new from somebody with a very different point of view. And that's a really beautiful thing. That's a very special thing to have. And that's just been something we really reflected on, spending more time in the United States, is that we can travel here and one can find and interact with different cultures right here in the United States. It's very special.
Another thing that we often think about is the power of yes. There's a lot of opportunities that come our ways when we are on the road, and saying yes to most of these opportunities come our way always turn out to be amazing experiences.
Yeah, so the one story I really love to tell people, which I think exemplifies this profoundly, is how a tire blowout, which in the normal circumstances, kind of a crisis, turned into an entire 7 months of beautiful experiences and friendships that we never would have expected to happen if it hadn't been for that crisis, and then a series of yeses that came afterwards. So we were driving the bus past the Grand Tetons en route to Yellowstone and had a massive tire blowout. And it led to actually all the tires needing to be replaced, which was quite a financial gulp for us, as you can imagine. It also meant that we were going to have to take the bus across the Tetons over into Idaho, which never had been on our route to begin with. Well, going across the Tetons meant that somebody who's been following us for a long time saw that we were in her area, and she sent an invitation to go visit her in her town in Driggs, Idaho. And that was the moment where we easily could have said, sorry, no, we've got this whole thing going on. We just need to get to this other town to get the tires replaced. But we said instead, yes. And because of that, we went to Driggs. A mural opportunity arose, which led to another mural opportunity, which led to our second largest mural to date, which was 3 sides of an entire Arts Council building that looks like an airplane hangar. Led to a 4th mural in the school there. So 4 murals, plus I was able to play music all summer in the area. We were able to make back enough money to pay for the tires and then some, which just blew our mind. And then their beautiful friendships that came out of that are just priceless. And those friendships led to a whole nother set of mural opportunities and led to our ability to go work with Nevada gold mines in in multiple communities across Nevada, painting 3 more murals. So all of those beautiful things happened because the tire blew out next to the Tetons, and we said yes to an invitation to go to Drake's. So a really big reflection and lesson that I've been learning through the project is a change in relationship with the unknown. When we first started the project, all of the unknowns really kind of scared me. They caused a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. You know, how are we going to meet people? How are we going to make connections and find the opportunities and communities that we want? Where are we going to park the bus? How are we going to make this all work out financially? All of those questions were scary, but now, 2 years in, after having lived that cycle multiple times, my relationship with the unknown is changing, and now it's exciting. Now I am excited about not knowing who we're going to meet and what kind of project we're going to do and what beautiful place we're going to park the bus at. All of those things are unknowns, and it's exciting because I know that that's what lies ahead of us. I think that's a really interesting reflection to have, especially when it comes to learning about different cultures, because at first there is a big unknown, and at first it might be scary, but there is this other way of interacting with the unknown. There is another way of relating to the unknown, and that's through excitement. But the only way to get to the stage of being excited about the unknown is first going through that first stage of being uncomfortable and being scared a little bit. And once you get past that, then the relationship starts to change, and the unknown just becomes a really exciting thing.
The last question that we're going to share with you guys is personal for me, because before the Art with There Yet project, I was traveling mainly for the sake of travel, and also I did a little bit of photography. And I always felt like I needed a place to be able to create my own art and connect more with communities. So now thinking in retrospective, it feels so wonderful to be traveling, but also be at home, which makes me, and I believe it makes both of us, more comfortable being for an extended period of time traveling, because the bus has really become home. And we had the bus in a completely different place that probably we've never been to. And it just feels great to be there creating art, but not just that, but also it makes it easier for us to go out in the communities, connect with the communities, and do all the volunteering work that we do. By doing it this way, I really feel like we are traveling with more of a purpose and less than just traveling for travel's sake. And that really fuels me to want to keep going doing this project. And on that note, we're gonna have Cora perform some of her music. Some of these songs were written before the Art with There Yet project, but I think most of them were recorded in the bus. And also some of these songs are songs that were created on the road and recorded in the bus. And I believe you're gonna sing some songs that come from the workshops that you did with the kids, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna have Cora play some music now.
So this first song that I want to share with you is called Wander. It was written by my dear friend Jess Langer and her friend Colleen Francis. It was written a couple years before I moved to China and where I met José. And it's a really special song for me because it really spoke to me about the love of movement and travel that I have. And it's really special we've been able to weave it into the project and create a video for this song, incorporating all the landscapes that we've been able to see so far. So it's a really special song for me, and I'm really excited to be able to share it with you. This is Wander. I wanna be a wander, running around around the world. Where I go,
Where I go, will you follow? Take my hand, let me show you how it feels to be free. Here we stand on the edge of everything. Be free with me. Come be free with me. 'Cause I wanna feel like wildfire. Go with the breeze, you chasing me higher. Where I go, will you follow? Where I go, will you follow? Take my hand, let me show you how it feels to be free. Here we stand on the edge of everything. Be free with me. Come be free with me. 'Cause I wanna be a wanderer.
So that's Wanderer. And the next song that I want to share with you is another really special one, because actually this was written by students in a songwriting workshop. So this song was written by a group of students in Sparta, North Carolina, about 15 students, age ranging about 9 through 15. And we came together, and over the course of 2 hours, the students wrote this song. And it's really special for me to be a part of these things, because my job in the songwriting workshop really is just to be the facilitator and the coordinator and the peacekeeper in general, because when anybody knows when you do creative work, there's always the opportunity for tension to arise. And I really just kind of coordinate, facilitate, and help the students be able to collaboratively write a song. So this is what these students wrote. It's called The Wind from the South.
I drive the wind from the south, lightning strikes the ground, love dies. Oh, why must this make sense when everything's in doubt and I'm crying? Me home. Is this a test of life? My load is the moon shining, and a wreck off the road is beside me. I'm crying. Oh, cry. Cry. The road welcomes me home. Is this a test of life? My Lord, is the moon shining and a wreck off the road is beside me, and I'm crying. Oh, cry, cry. Oh, cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. I drive the wind from the south. Lightning strikes the ground. So the next tune I'll share with you is another songwriting workshop song. This came from a group of students in Todos Santos in Baja California Sur, Mexico. The really special thing about this song is that it is fully bilingual, written by a group of students ranging from 4 years old to about 12 or 13, if my memory serves me well. And they all wrote it together and decided it should be bilingual, especially because there was one student who was having a bit of a hard time because he had just moved to Mexico and he was having some struggles with the adjustment and with the language change and all of that. And so as a way of a form of solidarity, the group decided to have it in both languages so that everybody felt extremely included. So it's really special, and I'm going to translate a little bit of it because well, I'll translate the parts that are in Spanish. It says, la tranquilidad empieza en la playa, entre las olas y el viento. So tranquility starts in the beach. Now these are kids who live in a beautiful town right along the beach. Entre las olas y el viento, in between the waves and the wind. En ese momento, el enojo se fue corriendo y me puse en modo contento. So saying, in that moment, my anger went running. It went going fast running. And I found myself in a content place. And then it goes on to say, yes, la felicidad es una semilla. La felicidad es una semilla que tenemos que regar. So it's saying happiness is a seed that we need to care for. We need to give water. La felicidad es una semilla que tenemos que regar todos los días. Todos los días la tenemos que cuidar. So every day we need to take care of it. Sonríe a la vida y la semilla crecerá. So smile at life and the seed will grow. And the rest of it, as you'll hear, is in English. So this is La Semilla. La tranquilidad empieza en la playa, entre las olas y el viento. En ese momento, el enojo se fue corriendo y me puse en modo contento. La felicidad es una semilla que que tenemos que regar todos los días. La tenemos que cuidar. Sonríe a la vida y la semilla crecerá. Sometimes an old life turns into a new life. Una aventura, a new adventure awaits. No tengas miedo, for each new moment. Vive el momento, live life always. So I forgot that there are parts of that chorus that are actually in Spanish. They say, don't be afraid of each new moment. Live the moment. And then in English, live life always. Sometimes an old life turns into a new life. Una aventura, a new adventure awaits. No tengas miedo, for each new moment. Vive el momento, live life always, always. Sometimes an old life turns into a new life. Una aventura, a new adventure awaits. No tengas miedo, for each new moment. Vive el momento, live life always. So that is La Semilla. This song is called Here We Listen. This is kind of a mezcla. Sorry, I'm thinking in Spanish. I guess I was just singing in Spanglish, so I'm thinking in Spanglish now. This is a mixture of before and after, or before and now, I guess. Part of this song was written years ago, and it was only through the Art We There Yet project that I was actually able to find its life. And it was kind of an interesting way that it came about. We were recording just little pieces of a song in multiple different locations, just a cajon tap and a clap here and there. And after almost 9 months of recording these different sections of a song that didn't even have form yet, I started to put them together in the recording session, and then all of a sudden it clicked. That it fit with this beginning of the song that I had started writing years and years and years ago. And I started playing this melody over top of these little pieces that we'd recorded in different areas, and it just gave it life, and it gave it it's like that's how it was always meant to be. So this is Here We Listen. Turning, time is burning, the little wheel that turns us all. Living, dying, beings thriving, the many lives that built us all. Hey, oh, look what we make. We make a lot out of nothing, yeah. Yeah, we're really onto something here. Hey, oh, look what we make. We make a lot out of nothing, yeah, and a whole lot of something. Beating, breathing, tide receding, a little wonder what we call living, learning, searching, yearning, the many threads that bind us all. Hey, oh, look what we make. We make a lot out of nothing, yeah, and a whole lot of something, yeah. Hey, oh, look what we make. We make a lot out of nothing, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. 'Cause every little dream we dream, we we try to live even though we have no wings, we fly. Beautiful life you speak, and here we listen still on a little speck of earth out in the sky. Beating, breathing, tide receding, that little wonder what we call living, learning, searching, yearning, the steady ground on which we fall. Hey, oh, look what we make. We make a lot out of nothing, yeah, and a whole lot of something here. Hey, oh, look what we make. We make a lot out of nothing, yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause every little dream we dream, we try to live even though we have no wings, we fly. Beautiful life you speak, and here we listen still on a little speck of earth out in the sky. Painted faces, swaying hips, concrete art and ruby lips, laughing faces, clasping hands, trudging feet and broken land. Cities tall and oceans wide, dirty hands and sweaty hides, turning hands and turning time. Watch it stop and watch us climb. Till every little dream we try to live even though we have no wings, we fly. Beautiful life you speak, and here we listen still on a little speck of earth out in the sky. So the last song I want to share with you is the very song that I was telling you about earlier, the collaborative song. This is Romer. Now, this song has, at this point in time, about 5 or 6 different musicians playing on it, and that is just going to continue to grow throughout the life of the project. The song is going to have many iterations to it, and I'm very excited to be able to share with you the very bare bones version of the song right now. This is Romer. She said, I am a roamer, can't you see? You see, I got weathered soles upon my feet, and I'm going home across the sea, and every twist along the way, I feel more free. And Mr. Time, he keeps on turning and turning. He turns the wheel we learn to ride. And all our dreams, we watch them grow into the sky. What a dream we bring alive. And there's marching in the streets, and there's aching in the bones of the world. But I'm just another human being trying to understand. And so I open wide, I let the world inside to try to see it through a different light, to see it through a different light, go see it through a different light. No truth in wrong or right, oh, not until my mind has seen it through a different light. Ooh, you hear one little whisper in the wind. The wind says, some rivers never reach the sea. And if a soul was never made to settle down, why keep her down, not set her free? And there's marching in the streets, and there's aching in the bones of the world, but I'm just another human being trying to understand. And so I open wide, I let the world inside to try to see it through a different light, to see it through a different light, go see it through a different light. No truth in wrong or right, oh, not until my mind has seen it through a different light. And so I open wide, I let the world inside to see it through a different light, to see it through a different light, to see it through a different light. No truth in wrong or right, oh, not until my mind has seen it through a different light.
Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been wonderful sharing everything about the Art with Area project. We hope to see you, some of you guys, on the road. And
Yeah, if you have any questions for us, please feel free to put them in the comments. We will be glad to answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much to the Spurlock Museum, and we'll see you guys out there.